Hello, users of the internet, and welcome back to another video from the world's greatest YouTube account. I'm Danny Pipewrench, and today I'm ranking the states. The states of the United States. They're united in a union, and they're states. Well, anyway, let us begin. Starting with Texas. Texas. What do I have to say about Texas? I like their highway network. Up until about 2 years ago, I hadn't spent a lot of time in Texas. But then I went to Dallas. The Vex Robotics World Championship is held there. Pretty good. I enjoyed it. A tier. California. Well, I think there's some nice parts about California. I like the Imperial Sand Dunes and a lot of the parts that aren't urban. Death Valley, I've never been there, but I'd like to go. Heard Northern California is very pretty. I've been to San Diego. We've got Legoland. I enjoyed that. Went to Ventura in the summer of 2022. It was very nice there. However, they also have Los Angeles. And in Los Angeles is Interstate 405, which, as we know, is a miserable Carmageddon. F tier for I-405. Colorado. Well, I like Colorado. John Denver likes Colorado. We've got nice mountains there. It's pretty good. They've got the highest tunnel in North America. C for Colorado. Alabama. I've never been to Alabama. I mean, I don't have a lot of opinion about Alabama. C tier for Alabama. Now we're on to Connecticut. C for Connecticut. I believe this... Is that Delaware? I think that's Delaware. Again, Delaware. What do I have to say about Delaware? I think they've got 30% interest. I think credit cards are allowed to have 30% interest rate. D for Delaware. Florida. They've got Florida, man. I had to be careful around Florida, man. B tier. Georgia. That's where the Coca-Cola bottling plant is. I like Coca-Cola. Georgia sounds like George. Like Curious George. I don't know. Pretty neutral on Georgia. C tier. Hawaii. Hawaii. A lot of volcanoes and earthquakes in Hawaii. What do I have to say about Hawaii? They don't have a unified electrical grid because they kind of can't. And they, it's really, things are really expensive there. I heard milk's like $12 a gallon. D for Hawaii. I like milk. Washington, D.C. That's where they make the laws. Congress lives there. F tier. Wisconsin? Alright. I've been to Wisconsin quite a lot. In fact, the first state I ever flew to was Wisconsin. We got relatives up there. My dad's from Wisconsin. I like Wisconsin. We'll give it 8. Arkansas. Or Arkansas. You know, I've got a math joke about Arkansas. You know how there's sine, which is a trigonometric function, and there's cosine, which is another trigonometric function, and the derivative of sine. And of course, the inverse of sine is arcsine, and the derivative, and the inverse of cosine is arcosine, and obviously sine over cosine is tangent, and the inverse of tangent is arctangent. Well, I've got another one. We've got Kansas. Where's Kansas? I lost Kansas. Well, Kansas is the one who reads Kansas. We've got Kansas, right? Well, then logically, the inverse of Kansas is Arkansas. This also implies the existence of Co-Kansas and Arco-Kansas. C tier for math jokes. Idaho. Oh, I've got a lot to say about Idaho. Now, it's a very nice state. got mountains, and it's cold in the winter. I like the snow. It's very pretty in Idaho. However, I'm also trapped here for the better part of the foreseeable future. B for Idaho. Iowa. I've not spent a lot of time in Iowa. However, my brother has, and he said he liked it a lot. We'll give Iowa a B. Kansas. Again, have not spent a lot of time in Kansas, but Kansas does have, if I'm not mistaken, the original segment of Interstate Highway. Missouri also claims to have it, and so does Pennsylvania. But Pennsylvania is scamming us on this one. But Kansas, I don't know a lot about Kansas. Haven't spent a lot of time there. C for Kansas. We're on to Kentucky. That's Kentucky, isn't it? Yeah. I've been to Kentucky a few times. They used to hold the VIX Robotics World Championship there. They've got Kentucky Fried Chicken. I've been to Kentucky Fried Chicken exactly one time. Okay, I've been there twice, but I've only eaten there once. Kentucky's fine. B tier. Maryland. I think that's where they just had that boat hit the bridge, right? It was Maryland, wasn't it? I don't know. I don't watch the news. I get all my news from the internet, which is probably not a good thing. But I don't hear about world events until someone starts making jokes about it. So, I don't know. Maryland. What can I say about Maryland? I like the flag. I don't know. I don't really care about Maryland. C for Maryland. Massachusetts, huh? I've got a few things to say about Massachusetts. Massachusetts is obviously home to the Massachusetts Institute of Technology. But the Massachusetts Institute of Technology runs a website called Scratch, a programming website. Now, Scratch banned me. And, nobody bans Danny Pipewrench. F for Massachusetts. Mississippi. How many Mississippis would Mississippi sip if Mississippi could Mississippi? How many Mississippis could Mississippi sip if Mississippi could sip Mississippi? Mississippi would sip all the Mississippis Mississippi could sip if Mississippi could sip Mississippi. C tier. Missouri. I like Missouri. One of my favorite, definitely one of my favorite states. I've been through there quite a lot. I like the trees. It's very green. It's very pretty. I remember one time we stopped at a McDonald's on one particular trip, and I really enjoyed playing on the jungle gym there, the jungle climber. Yeah, I don't know. I like St. Louis Arch. I haven't been up in the Arch yet, but I've gone through there a few times. There's a little town called Uranus. There's another way they pronounce it, though. And a nice little tourist stop. I wouldn't want to live there. A little too humid. Too many spiders. Although I did enjoy the Drury Inn in St. Louis. I'll give it B tier. Montana. It's like Idaho, except I'm not trapped in it. B plus. That's Nebraska, isn't it? There's a little town called Brule, and it was the first time I had ever seen a stainless steel slide on a playground. Yeah, it was pretty fun. I don't know. I haven't spent a lot of time in Nebraska, though. I'll give it a B. I like Nebraska. Nevada. I like Nevada. I've had a lot of pleasant experiences in Nevada. Most of which weren't in Las Vegas, although I've been through there a few times. Remember one time I got lost on the way up to Idaho, actually. Well, not really lost, just off the route. A little town called Caliente. Well, we stopped at some little restaurant, and no surprise they had slot machines, but we didn't use them. But we had pizza. Nice little railroad town. A for Nevada. New Jersey. D for New Jersey. Alright, on to New York. It's up to you, New York, New York. Da, da, da. Nope. Alright, on to, let's see here. Is that, oh crud, is that North Carolina? I think that's North Carolina. I know someone who went to North Carolina. We'll give North Carolina a C. I've never been out there. Oh, crud, what state is that? I can't read the flag from here. Oh, it's North Dakota. I'd like to go to North Dakota. Zoom out. Come on, Danny. I'd like to go to North Dakota. I've never been there. My grandma says that the wheat fields were very pretty. I'll give it B. Oregon. Oregon. Or, again, Oregon. No O tier. We can't put Oregon in the O tier. Let's see. What do I have to say about Oregon? I don't know. Haven't really been there. For the eastern part wants to join Idaho. Well, again, despite my personal feelings about Idaho, I have to respect that they would want to join Idaho. Because that's where I am. C for Oregon. Is that Pennsylvania? Pennsylvania. What can we say about Pennsylvania? Yeah, that's where the office is set. What else happened in Pennsylvania? They make steel, or at least they did make steel there at one point in time. Pennsylvania. One of my professors is from Pennsylvania, and I thought she did a good job. B for Pennsylvania. Rhode Island. As we all know, Rhode Island is the spectator seating for the football field that is Connecticut. Wait, where's Connecticut? There we go. Making an exception, not putting it at the end because it's the spectator seating. Let's see here. Is that South Carolina? B for South Carolina. I don't know anything about it. What state are you? Oh, that's South Dakota. Oh, I should have known that one. I apologize. I'm apologizing to South Dakota. A for South Dakota. Respect to South Dakota. And as we all know, South Dakota has the South Dakota School of Mines and Technology, where you don't graduate, but instead you get out. Tennessee. I had some, we'll say, interesting experiences in Tennessee. B tier. Utah. I like Utah. I've been through there quite a lot. I like the geography and geology of the southern part of the state. I like Salt Lake City. I like the airport because that's the first place I end up whenever I escape Idaho. Of course, it's the first place I end up whenever I'm going back to Idaho, but the escape outweighs the return. A for Utah. Is that Vermont? I don't know a lot about Vermont. I've heard it's a pretty peaceful, pleasant place. B for Vermont. Vermont. Let's see here. We're on to Virginia now? I don't know. I don't really have anything to say about Virginia. C tier. West Virginia. Okay. West Virginia. What can we say about West Virginia? West Virginia left Virginia during the Civil War, meaning Virginia seceded from the United States, and then West Virginia seceded from Virginia. Respect for political nonsense. B tier. Wyoming. I enjoyed Wyoming. I went there exactly one time, saw a bunch of bison, and then saw the longest train I've ever seen, 358 cars long, fully double stacked. A tier. Alaska. A lot of oil production up in Alaska. A lot of resources. I've heard it's pretty... And that's where Balto lived. A tier for Alaska. Arizona! Yeah! Illinois? I don't have a lot to say about Illinois. I've got some relatives there. It's fine. I enjoy it. My grandma lived there for almost 3 decades. It's pretty. B tier. Indiana? Well, as we all know, the cost of living in Indiana is $2 a month and a bushel of corn. B tier. Like Illinois, but cheaper. Louisiana? I don't really have anything to say about Louisiana. I've never been there. C tier. Is that Maine? Maine. Again, heard it's pretty peaceful in Maine. We'll give it B tier. Michigan. We gotta give some respect to Michigan. That's where the world's greatest Vex Robotics coach of all time is from, as well as the world's greatest electrical engineer. A tier for Michigan. And American-made cars. Minnesota. That's a pretty good time in Minnesota one time. Well, it was exactly one time. I've only been there one time. But I thought it was a pretty state. I remember listening to disco music as I was driving down Interstate 90 on my way to Wisconsin, coming out of South Dakota, actually. Their state highway signs look very similar to the interstate shields, especially in stormy conditions. However, overall, I enjoyed it. It was pretty nice. B tier for Minnesota. Is that New Hampshire? I don't have anything to say about New Hampshire. I'll give New Hampshire C for New Hampshire. Oklahoma. Oklahoma. I went to an amusement park in Oklahoma once, Frontier City. I enjoyed it. B for Oklahoma. Washington. Um, I don't know. I mean, I guess it's fine. I've never been there. C for Washington. And oh, that leaves the big one. As we all know, Dakota is the king of Ohio. But Ohio is Ohio. Wait, it's all Ohio? Always has been. E tier for Ohio.